The second visa I would like to talk about, which is popular among people from Vietnam, is the EB5 um, visa for Vietnam investors, which means in this case, instead of a non-immigrant visa, when you go through the EB5 process, you can get a green card, which means that you can stay in the U.S. indefinitely as long as you meet all the requirements and you renew your green card. Fortunately, there's no longer a backlog for Vietnamese EB5 investors. There was one maybe a couple years ago, and that made it a lot more difficult for people of Vietnamese descent to apply for the EB5. However, it does require a lot more money to be invested. It has to be invested into a new commercial entity that's approved by USCIS. Not only do you have to invest this minimum amount, but it also has to generate at least 10 full-time jobs for American employees within 2.5 years of when the EB5 is granted. So let's discuss a little bit about the investment amounts. The minimum investment amount is $800,000 US dollars for a targeted employment area. Targeted employment area means a region with high employment rates in rural areas. So the goal of this obviously is to provide more jobs and to bring more funds into areas that have high employment rates or more rural. If it's not in a target employment area, then the investment amount has to be at least $1,050,000. So again, similar to the E2, we have to source the funds, which means determining where the funds for the investment derives from. So it can be loans, it can be gifts from people, it can be from personal income, it can be from inheritance, sales, property, vehicles, etc. And this does require a lot of tracing, paperwork and whatnot. But again, at the end of the day, you can get a green card, which is, if you want to stay in the U.S., for longer term, instead of having to renew every 2 years like you do with the E2, then this would be a good option for you. Another popular option is the national interest waiver. The national interest waiver is a self-petition. It's employment-based self-petition, which means that you do not need an employer sponsor. There's no labor certification. So this is more for those that have an advanced degree. A lot of times they have done a lot of research. You have to show proof that you've been working in this field for at least 10 years. So we do this by including letters of recommendation by those that can attest to the ability and the work that has been completed over the last 10 years of the potential applicant. For the NIW, similar to EB5, you can also, in the end, you'll be granted a green card. So once you get the green card, you're not going to be tied to a specific employer like other employment-based applications, which a lot of people like the freedom of the NIW. So in order to qualify for NIW, as I mentioned, you have to have an advanced degree. You have to have show experience, at least 10 years within the field. We'll want to kind of narrow the field down. We don't want to make it too general, but also not too specific, so that your future work can be encompassed in the field that we decide on for you. So in addition to the letters, we want to show, if there are any publications, if you were, first or second author for these publications, that's important. If you won like any awards, grants, patents, that's also important too. So we need to show that compared to other people in the field, that you're one of the top in the field. So, in order to prove this, we need to provide, quite a bit of evidence to support this. So the main thing is providing letters of recommendation, preferably from independent recommenders, which means that they do not know you personally, or they have not worked with you personally, rather. They may have met you maybe at a conference or whatnot, but they know you from more from maybe reviewing some of the work that you've done. Maybe they cited to it directly in some of their papers. So those are more helpful because it shows the impact your work has on the field, when people that haven't worked with you have noticed your work and can attest to the benefits of your work on the US. So that's another aspect of NIW that we have to show, is that the work you've done, the past, current, and future work of yours will benefit the US. So we have to show not only that will benefit, but establish benefits to the US and or the field. So again, these are some of the three popular options that we have for those that reside in Vietnam. So if anyone wants to meet up with me for a in-person consultation when I come to Vietnam at the beginning of March, we can schedule that. So just please contact our office and we'll provide you with more details. All right, thank you.